Good morning and a warm welcome to the next session on Java. So far in the previous session, we have started learning about what is an exception and what are the different types of errors and what is a serious exception and a simple exception. And along with that, we have seen about what is checked exceptions and what is unchecked exceptions. So finally, we are here with a conclusion that in Java programming language, right? In Java programming language, there is one class called as exception class. Okay, there is one class called as exception class. Under exception class, there are many subclasses. Okay, under exception class, there are many subclasses. For example, class not found exception or no such method exception, etc. Among all these exception classes, there is one class called as a runtime exception class. There is one class called as runtime exception class. Okay, so see here, under runtime exception class also there are many subclasses. Okay, all these are called as unchecked exceptions. All these classes are called as unchecked exceptions. And apart from this one, except this runtime exception and its subclasses, all the remaining classes are called as checked exceptions. Okay, checked exceptions. So by using this exception handling mechanism in Java, we are going to handle only unchecked exceptions. We cannot handle these checked exceptions, right? So let us see this one. So see here. So as we study so far, so there are 5 keywords in Java. The first one is try, and the second one is called catch. Okay, the third one is called as throw, and the fourth one is called as throws, and the fifth one is called as finally. By using these 5 keywords, we are going to handle an exception. Okay, so let us assume there are few lines of a code in my Java program. Okay, let us assume these are the few lines of a code in my Java program, and I am expecting an runtime exception here from line number 3 to line number 7. I am expecting here. So now what I generally do is that I am going to keep these 4 lines in a block. Okay, keep these 4 lines in a block, and I am going to give a try keyword for this block. So what will happen generally when we give a try keyword, in the sense, if there is an exception, in the below block which was represented here, then that exception will be identified. Okay, then the exception will be identified. So what we have to do after the identification of an exception, we need to handle that exception. So after representing the try block, okay, anywhere in the program, after the try block, anywhere in the program, you can have a catch block and some body for that catch block. Now what this catch block will do is that it is going to handle that exception. It is going to handle that exception. For example, if there is an error or if there is an exception in these 4 lines, then that exception will be identified by this try block, and the try block is going to send that exception to respected catch block, and this catch block is going to handle that exception. And in case if there is no exception raised here, then the program will execute smoothly and the catch block will never get executed. Okay, when there is no runtime exception, catch block will never execute. When there is a runtime exception, the catch block is going to be executed. Okay, so this is generally what we do in the program. So if there are some lines and we are expecting a runtime exception in few lines, we have to keep those few lines in a block, and we have to name the block with a try keyword. Now the try keyword is going to identify that exception, and that exception will be handled by the respected catch block. So let us do this one with the help of a program so that you can understand it betterly. For example, I have a class A, okay, and inside class A, I have something called as a main method in Java, that is public static void main. Okay, public static void main, and it is having string args. Just a second. String args. Now within this main method, okay, within this main method, I have three integer variables, int a comma b comma c. Okay, and the value of a is 10 and the value of b equal to 0, and I am performing c equal to a by b. Okay, and after performing the division operation, I am going to print, okay, I am going to print the value of c on the output screen by using system.out.println. Okay, so this is my code. See here, there is no chance of error at this line, and at the same time there is no chance of error at this line because I have maintained the syntax perfectly, and there is no chance of error here also, and there is no chance of error here also. We can assign any value to the variable because a is an integer. We can assign any integer value to the variable, and similarly b is also an integer variable, so we can also assign any value to this variable. But when you observe c equal to a by b, we are trying to divide the value of a with b. Okay, value of a with b, where c can be calculated as value of a is 10 and the value of b is 0. How can you divide with any number with a 0? So it is impossible to divide it with a 0. So there may be a chance of getting an exception here at this particular line. Okay, there may be a chance of getting an exception at this particular line. So similar, what we have studied previously, if there is a chance of getting an exception at this particular line, you have to make this line in a block. If there are 10 lines, we can have 10 lines in that block. So for this block, in order to identify an exception, we need to use the try keyword. So when we use the try keyword, okay, we have to maintain the catch block. Okay, we have to maintain the catch block here. So catch. So what is the type of exception I am going to get? I am going to get an exception called as divided by 0. Okay, just a second. So I'm going to get an exception divided by 0, where the divided by 0 exception comes under arithmetic exception. So arithmetic exception space, we have to provide some object, and here we have to provide a body. So in the body, we can have our own statements. Whatever the statements we can have those statements. For example, if there is an exception, we want to know the user divided by 0 is not possible. Divided by 0 is not possible. So whenever an exception is occurred, then on the output screen, divided by 0 is not possible will be printed on the output screen. Okay, so see here. As per the theory we have discussed in the previous session, okay, as per the theory we have discussed in the previous session, here, if there is an exception here, okay, if there is an exception here, now what JVM will do is that JVM will create an object. Okay, JVM will create an object for the respected exception class. Respected exception class in the sense, okay, it is going to create an object for exception class. So there are n number of exception classes, or let us assume there are 100 exception classes. For which class that JVM is going to create an object? It is going to create an object for the type of exception it was occurred. Here in the denominator we have 0. So this slash belongs to arithmetic operators. So under arithmetic operators we have plus, minus, star, divided by, modulo, divisor, etc. belongs to arithmetic operators. So when there is an exception with arithmetic operator, then the type of exception is called as arithmetic exception. Now JVM is going to create an object for arithmetic exception, and now that object will travel entire program. So if there is no handling code for such object, then it is going to meet the JVM again. So it is going to travel the entire program. It is going to travel the entire program. Okay. If there is no handling code, then it is going to reach the JVM. So JVM has created an object of arithmetic exception, and the arithmetic exception has that object has traveled the entire program, and that object don't find any handling procedure. In case, again, it is going to reach the JVM where it was created. In such case, the program will be terminated. The program will be terminated suddenly, and the user don't know why the program has been terminated, and the user don't have any idea on the termination of this program. Okay, so now now let us see what will happen. Okay, what will happen if there is a handling procedure. So if there is a handling procedure in the sense, one should identify that object and one should handle that object. That identification of object is taken care by this try block. Okay, identification of object is taken care by this try block, and this catch block is going to handle such object. Okay, now the program will not terminate suddenly. When there is an exception here, then respected try block, catch block will get executed. Okay, now I think it is clear. So now let us compile and execute this one first. So I'm compiling this code. Just a second. So see here, I'm getting an output divided by 0 is not possible. In case if the B value is also 10, and if I compile the code, okay, and if I run the code, I'm going to get 1 as an output. Okay, in case if the B is 0, and if you don't maintain this try and catch blocks, okay, if you don't maintain this try and catch blocks, let us see what will happen. Okay, if you don't maintain this try and catch blocks, then see this, when I compile the code and I'm not getting any errors, and when I run the code, you can see here, there is an exception in thread main. The exception name is that arithmetic exception, and the type of exception is the divided by 0. Okay, so we are having an exception, and the compiler is asking us to handle such exception. So if the compiler is asking to handle such exception, you need to handle by using the try and catch block. Okay, now if you do like this, that program will be compiled successfully, right? So now my question is that here I'm clearly seeing that A by B, and I know there is an divided by 0, that is there is an arithmetic exception. And in case if I don't know what exception will be raised here, during the time here, instead of writing, okay, instead of writing arithmetic exception, we can write runtime exception, or we can simply maintain exception, because we have already shown that under exception class there are multiple number of subclasses. Okay, under those, among all those subclasses, there is one class called as runtime exception, and under runtime exception, there are many classes. Okay, if you don't know all these names, if you are unable to remember, or if you cannot remember all these names, you can have your catch block with the runtime exception, or simply we can have your class name as exception, because runtime exception is the super class for all the exceptions, and for exception is the super class for runtime exception. Okay, be clear, right? So now for a single try block, we can have multiple number of catch blocks. So see here, for example, catch of, see here I am writing a runtime exception or arithmetic exception. Okay, arithmetic exception. For this catch block, I am going to write something called as a system.out.println. Good morning. So see here, there is only one try block. Okay, there is only one try block. For this single try block, there are two catch blocks. Okay, there are two catch blocks. The first catch block will have arithmetic exception, and the second catch block will handle all the exceptions. Okay, now if I compile this one and if I run the code, I'm going to get good morning as an output. Okay, good morning as an output. So here among the two classes, the first one is going to handle arithmetic exception. In case here, instead of arithmetic exception, I got a different exception. Okay, I got something called as array index out of bound exception. Now the catch block, this will not be executed in case of other exceptions other than arithmetic exception. So during that point of time, this catch block is going to be executed. So similarly, we can have any number of catch blocks for a single try block. If there are any n number of catch blocks, and depending upon the type of exception which was raised in the try block, the respected catch block will get executed. For example, if I maintain arithmetic exception, catch of array index out of bound exception, catch of string index out of bound exception, catch of interpreted exception, etc. Among all those 4 or 5 catch blocks, if I got arithmetic exception, then the arithmetic exception catch block will get executed. If I got in these 2 lines, if I got something called as array index out of bound exception, then the catch block with the name array index out of bounds will get executed. And the compiler, if compiler don't find the specific name, then it searches for the runtime exception catch block. And still, if it don't find the runtime exception catch block, it is going to execute, it is going to find whether there is an catch block with exception or not. Okay, so here, depending upon the type of exception raised in the try block, the respected catch block will get executed. And now let us see the throw keyword. What happens if I use the throw keyword here, throw space E? Because we have taken the arithmetic exception object as E, I'm throwing this E again. What happens if I throw E, and if I save, compile, and run the code? Okay, run the code. It is going to print good morning, as well as it is asking to handle the arithmetic exception divided by 0, because already there is an exception which was raised here, and that exception was handled by this exception, by this catch block. That's why it has printed good morning. And when we say throw E, again the same exception will be thrown, right? Again the same exception will be thrown. So if you want to rethrow an exception, okay, if you want to rethrow an exception which was already thrown, okay, which was already thrown, then you can go for this throw keyword. Okay, then you can go for this throw keyword. Now I think all of you are clear about why we are using this throw keyword. So when we use throw keyword, this throw keyword is going to throw the exception which was already thrown. And there is one more use of this throw keyword. I will explain the use of the throw keyword while discussing about user defined packages, user defined exceptions. Okay, so till now we have discussed about the exceptions. All these exceptions comes under default exceptions. The exception classes which came along with the Java programming language are called as default exceptions. Till now we have discussed about default exceptions. We can also create our own exceptions. So I will explain the procedure how we can create our own exceptions in the later classes. The exceptions which was created by the user are called as user defined exceptions. Okay, I will show you how to create those user defined exceptions in the future classes. Now let us see this one. So till now in today's session we have seen how where we have to use this try keyword and where we have to write the catch keyword, and how the try keyword or the catch keyword will get executed, and how we can have multiple catch blocks for a single try block. Along with this, we have seen how to use the throw keyword inside the body of the catch block. So try block is used to identify, catch block is used to handle, where the throw keyword is used to rethrow an exception which was already thrown. Okay, and with this I am going to close today's session. In the tomorrow's session, we are going to cover what is the use of throws keyword and what is the use of finally keyword, and how they help in handling the exceptions, or how they help in exception handling mechanism. Okay, with this I am going to close today's session. We will meet you in the next session with the throws and finally keyword and many more programs in exception handling. And thank you very much.